Welcome to the official start of the Dragonverse, where our motto is familiar powers, unfamiliar heroes. Stick around for some epic adventures as we get started with none other than the dynamic Arachnid.
We begin outside of Zoe's house as a pair of small drones quietly buzz around. The drones seem to have taken an interest in the house as they fixate and scan. On the interface, we see it scan for life and find nothing. The drones run a secondary check and get a positive signal. With the collected data, the drones fly away from the house. Inside of Grinder Gears, Mr. Fossbender and Mr. Wells are walking through the halls. Sir, if the information from the drones is correct, this means... I know what it means, Mr. Wells. That's why we're taking action. The two remain silent until they reach a room where the second gearbox is laid out on a stretcher. Mr. Wells looks at his boss, who gives him a simple nod. Mr. Wells presses a button on the tablet in his hands. Gearbox's eyes shoot open. The android sits up and stands before its creator. Awaiting orders, sir. Mr. Wells, transfer the data. Mr. Wells does as ordered. Gearbox takes a moment to process the information. Data received. How should I proceed? With caution. Elimination of the target is the desired outcome. Yes, Mr. Fossbender. Gearbox turns on its heel and begins to exit the room. Annie sits in her room at her computer. In her search engine, she types in Galatech. She gets a result that leads her to a tech-based company in Phoenix. As she scrolls the website, she reads about the company and even spots an image of the company's founder, Mr. Hunt, with Dr. Drake and Mr. Fossbender. As she continues to read, Arachnid drops down outside her window. He removes his mask and lightly taps on it. Annie's hand goes to her drawer as she turns around. Once she sees Thomas, she gives him a sad smile. She inclines her head, telling him to come inside. The front door is downstairs. I'm afraid I'm not in my Sunday best. Thomas smiles and looks around. Just so you're aware, my father said he knew you wouldn't show. That's so. I'll have to apologize to him. Thomas limps into her room and Annie finally sees the condition he's in. She rises from her chair with concern. Tommy? She rushes over to him. Are you all right? What happened to you? Thomas flops onto her bedroom floor. Annie kneels next to him. She examines the damage to his costume and the bruises on his face. For what it's worth, normally these things tend to go much better for me. Yeah? Thomas begins to remove the upper portion of his costume. He winces in pain, and Annie helps him get the rest off. His bruised chest and abs are on full display. That looks painful. Yeah, the guy broke a few ribs. I think the fall broke a few more. How are you not unconscious? I heal quicker than regular people. Definitely not 100%. Call it a cool 35. Who was this guy? Called himself Brawn. British guy. Can cover his body with metallic alloy. Annie looks at him with disbelief and shock. I thought you changed your mind about coming to Mass and didn't want to tell me. When I was fighting him, and I thought he was going to kill me, you were the last person I thought of. You were going to hate me for ditching you, and I wouldn't get the chance to explain myself. Annie's shocked face turns to a concerned look. What? Every day, for as long as I can remember, my father has left every morning, and he's put a badge on his chest and strapped a gun to his hip. And every day, for as long as I can remember, I haven't known if he was going to make it home. Annie presses her forehead to Thomas's. Don't worry, Annie. I won't let anyone take me from you. That's not up to you. It is if I'm more careful going forward. These guys keep showing up, and I'm the only one who can stop them. Thomas places his head in Annie's lap. She begins to stroke his hair slowly. You had questions for me, and I promised to answer them. First things first, how did this happen? When did this happen? About a week before my 16th birthday. Went to work with my dad on the weekend. We were only supposed to be there so you could pick something up. I don't even remember what. I was waiting in the lobby when I felt a bite on my neck. Before I could process that, something stung me in the heel. I saw a spider ascending its web and a scorpion underneath the bench. What did you say to your dad? Nothing. I was super drowsy. I went home and crashed for 16 hours. Not gonna lie, it was pretty great, though my mom was a little worried. When I woke up, at first everything seemed normal. When did you know you had powers? Not long after that. Then I tried out for football because I was suddenly super athletic. That part I remember. Okay, so what led you to be a vigilante? I stopped a mugging while I was downtown. After that, I started paying attention to the news when it spoke about the surging crime rate. With my new abilities, I figured I could do something about it. I see. Which led you to the Skull Gang? Somewhat. I started going after them after Dex died. I saw how upset his death made Sophia. All I wanted to do was scare them a bit, beat up a few of them. I never knew where it would lead. And now we're here. Annie smiles. You didn't think to tell me sooner? Thomas smiles back. I did, but you weren't exactly my biggest fan. Annie laughs. I guess not. I can't believe it. My boyfriend's a vigilante. Hey, what were you looking at when I got here? Galatech? Something I saw on Zoe's computer. She played dumb when I asked her about it, so I thought I'd look into it. Find anything interesting? They're based out of Phoenix, do a lot of work similar to Drake Robotics and Grinder Gears. Apparently their founder is friends with the both of them. Maybe Zoe's into tech? Something you both have in common? I suppose. You know, when my mom and I went to pick her up for the double date, her parents never showed. They were probably at work. Yeah, I guess, but her house felt odd. Like it wasn't lived in. I guess that's a little weird. What are you thinking, detective? Nothing. I don't want to make assumptions. Something about it all felt off is all. Annie smiles again. What? You know, you're the first boy I've had in my room. Really? Do I get a rare diamond achievement? Yeah, it's called Anastasia's Palace. Annie and Thomas laugh and continue to relax. The following day, after school, Thomas, Annie, Carter, and Zoe are at the shakedown. The four sit in a booth, each couple on either side. A waiter sets down their food. Burgers, fries, and shakes. The kids begin to eat. So, since our last double date went so well, I'm thinking we do another one. Eventually, the two of you are going to have to go on dates alone. I know. Where to? High Point is still shut down. Annie playfully nudges Thomas and he smiles. Good point. Hey, that trampoline park is available. Not a bad idea. Sounds like fun. Are we going tonight? I'm free. I've got something to do. Carter looks at Thomas and glares. But I'll be free later in the evening. Carter smiles. Then it's settled. The kids continue to enjoy their meal. Outside of the Frost residence, we see Annie and Zoe as they arrive. Thanks for coming with me. I appreciate it. No problem. I hope your parents don't mind. They don't. Both of them have very demanding jobs in the city. Do they work for Galatech? No. Why do you ask? Just curious. I know they're a tech company, and well, tech is what the city's known for. Plus, it was on your browser the other day. Oh, yes, I see how that could be confusing. Forgive me for prying. The two enter Zoe's house. Suddenly, someone bumps into Annie, knocking her down. Someone grabs Zoe by the neck and slams her into the ground. He prepares to strike, but he's distracted as Annie whacks him with her backpack. Gearbox slowly turns his head to look at her. The distraction is enough for Zoe to punch Gearbox, sending him flying several feet. Surprising Annie, Zoe gets to her feet. Get out of here. I'll handle this. Gearbox slowly stands to his feet. Annie nods and begins to run. She gets her phone out and pauses. Her finger hovers over her father or Thomas. She calls Thomas. I don't know how you got here, but you tried to kill me. For that, you will be eliminated. The fight resumes. Zoe continues to throw punches, but Gearbox dodges them with ease. With a single punch, he sends her crashing into the stairs. Hello? Tommy? I need you. We've got a situation at Zoe's. I'm on my way. Annie hangs up and watches the house with anticipation. Inside the house, Zoe quickly spins to her feet. Gearbox is on her immediately. She gets punched into the sofa. After it breaks, Zoe grabs several couch cushions and smacks Gearbox with both of them. Gearbox staggers for a moment. Zoe kicks him into the opposite wall. She hits him 2 more times before her next attack is blocked, and she's tossed into her refrigerator. Zoe crawls out of the refrigerator. She runs to the side and begins throwing knives at Gearbox. Gearbox dodges the knives, and Zoe smacks him with a cutting board. It breaks in half. Gearbox is mostly unaffected. Cornered in the kitchen, Zoe flips over the counter to create some space. Gearbox grabs her by the hair and slams her onto the ground. Gearbox looks towards the knives and goes to pick some up. Zoe crawls to an outlet but blocks it from view as Gearbox stands over her. Prepare to die. As he goes to stab her, she redirects his hands to the outlet. He stabs into the outlet and the electricity surges through the knives. After sparking for a bit, the surge sends him flying out of the home. Gearbox stumbles before his internal system flashes a severe warning. He looks back at Zoe. We shall meet again. Gearbox exits as Zoe collapses. Annie slowly makes her way to the home, and Zoe slowly lifts her head. Don't tell Carter. I'll call my mom, and we'll go to my house. Zoe nods and exits her destroyed home. We see Gearbox as he returns to Mr. Fossbender. What happened? I sustained an unexpected shock to my systems. Need to recalibrate. Look, the longer you take, the quicker someone can trace this back to us. The android already knows. What's to stop her from going public? I assure you, that won't happen. However, I do need repairs. Mr. Fossbender exhales. Very well, let's make this quick. Gearbox lays out on the stretcher as Mr. Fossbender prepares to get to work. Back at Annie's house, she and Zoe are in her room. Look, you don't have to explain what happened, but I'm not gonna lie. I'd like to know. Before she can continue, there's a knock on the door. Thomas enters the room. Thanks, Miss Wilson. Hi, ladies. How's it going? Fine. Hey, Zoe, can you ask my mom for some snacks? Zoe nods and leaves the two alone. What the hell happened? We were planning to get ready when we were attacked. Whoever it was wanted Zoe. She won't tell me why, though. However, she is like you. Like me? She has superpowers or something. The guy who attacked her clearly did as well. Her house is wrecked. Great. How are we going to tell Carter? She doesn't want him to know. Yeah, I can understand that. Thomas thinks about something. You said the Galatech founder knows Mr. Fossbender, Dr. Drake, right? Yeah, what about it? Maybe I should pay Dr. Drake another visit, see if he has any more insights. Okay, just be careful. When am I not? Says the guy who showed up in my room beaten to a pulp yesterday. Thomas smiles at her. Zoe returns with more snacks. Hey, Zoe, we're both worried about you. Are you sure there's not something you want to tell us? Zoe is quiet for an eternity. Can I trust you to stay quiet? Annie and Thomas nod. The man that attacked me. I've seen him before. Where? The tech gala. When I punched its head off. Annie and Thomas's eyes go wide. Why did you attack the android? Orders. My bosses don't want Grinder Gears and Drake Robotics catching up to them. You work for Galatech, I presume? Yes. Mr. Fossbender put out a statement saying the android wasn't destroyed. I went to investigate, and he must have tracked me. Annie begins to glare at her. So you put Detective Mercury in the hospital? Zoe gives her an apologetic look. Yes. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I only wanted to move her out of the way. So, Carter was What?
Unexpected. I do care for him. Our bond is not as strong as the two of yours, but it's growing.
Yeah, but you're an android. Do you have feelings?
I don't know. All I know is you can't tell him.
That other android is gonna come for you again.
I know. I won't be here when it does. I'll end this, once and for all.
Thomas and Annie look at each other, and Zoe smiles.
Thanks for not freaking out. I'm trying to keep it together.
Listen, I need to go. Something else I need to do.
Yeah, of course.
Will you two be all right? Annie looks at Zoe.
Yeah.
Thomas and Annie hug as he exits her room. As Dr. Drake works into the evening, he enters his office and sits in his chair. Evening, Dr. Drake. Oh! Arachnid. What are you doing here? I come bearing gifts. I know what happened at the tech gala. Your buddy, Mr. Hunt, sent an android after you guys. Seems he's a bit jealous. A trait he shares with Mr. Fossbender, I'm afraid. I have a question for you. You work with machines and robotics. Do you believe that an android is alive and is capable of real feelings? Dr. Drake smiles. A question I've been asked and pondered numerous times. Personally, I say no. In one of my favorite movies about the subject, an AI believes that the essence of life is morality and reproduction. Do androids have morality beyond their programming? I don't know. It's easy to say that because an android experiences life in a similar fashion, then it is alive. However, as I mentioned, I disagree with this argument. I see. Thanks, Doc. You're welcome. Arachnid leaves the office as Dr. Drake continues to work. The next day at school, Annie and Thomas sit on the bleachers together. Are you all right?
I don't know. I was already processing one revelation. I didn't need another. This is insane. Zoe's an android. That's way crazier than what you've got going on.
I agree.
What is life?
Absolutely crazy. I feel bad for Carter. First girlfriend ends up being a robot.
I can't imagine how he's going to react.
Do you think she'll tell him?
Maybe. I don't know. I suppose it's complicated, even for her.
What are we going to do about the fact that she injured Detective Mercury?
I don't know. I want to be mad at her, but it seems like she's a pawn in a much bigger game.
Annie leans back into his chest.
I don't want to think about it anymore.
Thomas kisses her forehead and smiles.
Does what you can do scare you?
No. In fact, I like my powers very much. I'll take you swinging one day.
Swinging?
Yeah, it's super fun. I barely need to borrow my mom's car anymore. Annie and Thomas continue to relax on the bleachers. In the afternoon, Zoe has made her way to grind your gears. She stands alone in the parking lot. A moment later, Gearbox exits the facility. Once the two make eye contact, Zoe begins to charge Gearbox. Gearbox runs to meet her. The two begin to brawl. Zoe avoids a lot of the initial blows, managing to land a clean punch. Back in downtown Emerald City, Arachnid is also swinging towards Grind Your Gears. If my hunch is correct, Zoe's got a head start. I better get there fast. Back at Grind Your Gears, the fight continues. Inside, Mr. Fossbender watches with anticipation. Zoe manages to land a few more blows. However, Gearbox catches her next punch. The tide turns and he begins to dominate the fight. As Gearbox continues to deliver blow after blow, Arachnid swing kicks him off Zoe. This is not your fight. Looks to me like you're beating a teenage girl. That is not a teenage girl. Could have fooled me. Zoe gets to her feet. I can handle this, Arachnid. Not from my point of view. Don't worry. We'll take him together. Fine. You've made your choice. Gearbox charges the two of them. Zoe and Arachnid dodge his attempted attack. Gearbox rounds on Zoe, and the two trade blows. Arachnid goes for another rear kick, but it's blocked. Gearbox is webbed and tossed in the air by Arachnid. Arachnid waits for Gearbox to drop in perfect position before kicking him down the road. Gearbox, Arachnid, and Zoe continue to fight. Gearbox blocks a pair of punches and then headbutts Zoe. He gets a punch on Arachnid as well. Arachnid takes it in stride and kicks the android several times. Sparks begin to fly. With one final punch, Arachnid punches through Gearbox's chest. The android sputters and falls back. Arachnid walks over to Zoe and offers her a hand up. A security team exits the building, followed by Mr. Fossbender. Arachnid, what are you doing? Destroying a threat to the city. Gearbox wasn't a threat to the city. It was going to kill that android and be sold. Sorry, from my point of view, Gearbox looked like the aggressor. Now how about you and your team go back inside and forget about this? If you're nice, I'll even tell you who sent her. Mr. Fossbender glares at the two. Stand down. Go back inside. The security team begins to head back inside. Mr. Fossbender points at Zoe. I suggest you get out of the city and tell your masters to leave me alone. He storms back inside. Arachnid looks at Zoe. Come on, let's get out of here. Arachnid swings through the city with Zoe. The two land on a rooftop. You're safe, ma'am. Why was that guy attacking you? He was a rival. A rival? If you don't mind, I prefer if you kept your dispute a bit more private. I'm sorry, but thanks to you, it seems I don't have to worry about it anymore. Glad I could be of assistance. As Zoe listens to Arachnid speak, her systems process the voice. She inclines her head before looking back at the hero. Tommy? I don't know who this Tommy is. My name's Arachnid. Alright, I really should be going. My sensors recognize your voice as a 100% match, even if it is a little gruff. Keep it to yourself, alright? Zoe is surprised. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Does Annie know? Yeah. Carter? No. Oh. I guess we have that in common. I suppose we do. Look, I'm in no position to tell you what to do. However, I think you and Carter need to talk. So I should tell him my secret, but you get to keep yours? Yeah, because I'm not trying to date him. He's still your best friend. It's not easy keeping this from him, but I have to. Zoe goes quiet as Arachnid fires a web. Think about it at least. Arachnid swings away, leaving Zoe on the rooftop. A moment later, her parents appear. Afternoon, Zoe. We have an update for you. All right. You have compromised yourself and our efforts in this city. But I succeeded. Gearbox is destroyed. You also told your friends about your identity as an android. I knew not restricting her programming was a mistake. These same friends are now aware of our company. This is a direct violation of your protocols. I'm sorry, I won't tell anyone else. No, you won't. You're being reassigned. A new city, a new name. Refuse, and we reveal your friend's secret identity to the city. I'm sure the criminal underworld would love to know who's been thwarting their plans. But, Carter... Your feelings for him aren't real. You're an android. Besides, he's 16. He'll forget about you in a week. A sad look washes over Zoe's face. Say your goodbyes. You leave tomorrow afternoon. Her parents disappear once again, and now Zoe is truly alone on the rooftop. The following day at school, Carter walks up to Zoe's locker as she's cleaning it out. Zoe? So you weren't kidding. You're really moving. Yes, my parents just told me yesterday. Oh. So what about us? Zoe smiles sadly. There isn't an us anymore. I'm angry at my parents for this. I really wanted to get to know you better and be your girlfriend.
I take it there's no convincing them not to move? No. Carter's shoulders slump and Zoe lifts his face up and smiles. It's okay. How does that saying go? Don't be sad because it's over, be happy it happened. But we barely got started. Then I'll have to leave you on a happy memory. Zoe kisses Carter, a short and sweet kiss. Goodbye, Carter. Zoe closes her locker and walks away. After school, Thomas, Carter, and Annie walked together. And then she was gone. Dude, I'm so sorry. Thanks, bro. It might not cheer you up, but the three of us can try and game tonight. Thanks, Annie. It'll definitely help. Thomas's phone buzzes. One sec, guys. Thomas checks his phone and immediately furrows his brow. Several images of Arachnid begin to flash, followed by pictures of himself. After the images stop, only 2 words appear from the unknown number. We know. Tommy, you coming? Yeah, I'm right behind you.
Hey guys, Big Green Dragon here. I hope you enjoyed what you just watched, and if you did, think about sticking around, subscribing, notification bell. Oh, I think that's the usual stuff YouTubers say. Anyways, seriously, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, and hey, come along on this journey with me as we explore the dynamic Arachnid, and of course, many others to be following. I don't have a consistent upload schedule yet. I am just one dragon. But I promise that I will get the videos to you as best as I can in a timely manner. Until next time, take care. Dragon out.